Shadow the Hedgehog, you love him, some of you hate him, some of you think he gets way too much screen time, even though he's like the most popular character in the franchise next to Sonic, but regardless, he's here to stay. He's got a complex backstory, very dark, very edgy. What if I told you it could be even edgier? What if I told you that everything we know about Shadow could have originally been fake? We're gonna be talking about Shadow and his fake memories. Cue the intro. Yo, what's up? It's Sync from the future. So, I've got a Discord called The Special Zone, where I talk about anything and everything I want. So, sometimes it's Sonic, sometimes it's not, just like here on the channel. So, it's going to be in the description. You guys can join The Special Zone. I'll be waiting for you. Anyway, back to the video. In Sonic Adventure 2, we follow Shadow as he rediscovers his memories and he attempts to take revenge on the world for the death of Maria. But was that originally the case? Did Shadow ever meet Maria? And now this theory, not original, but this theory definitely supposes that the original story, it was intended that Shadow never met Maria, or if he did, never really spent any time with her. There's two things that Gerald says that specifically stand out. One, he had perfect control over Shadow's memories, and two, he also based Shadow off of Maria's soul. Now, what exactly that means? How do you base one soul off of another? How do you even create a soul? I don't know how Gerald figured that out, but it's incredible. Throughout majority of the game, Shadow thinks that Maria's wish was for him to destroy humanity, and he didn't question it at all because it was so clear to his mind. Throughout the game, we see Shadow try to unravel his hazy memories and figure out who he is, who he's meant to be, and what Maria actually wanted. And we see in the climax that after talking to Amy, he does finally, realize what Maria's true wish was. But what if all of this was manipulated? What if he actually never met Maria at all? So think of the idea that Gerald had complete control over his memories. So if he originally designed Shadow after his granddaughter, she passed away and she, in her final memory, said, "Bring hope to humanity," then Gerald would have kept that wish and he would have implanted that in Shadow, giving him a reason to, live. You want to create this ultimate life form and have to teach him everything from scratch. But then, after the raid on Gun, and with the death of so many people, Gerald says, "You know what? Actually, forget it. Fuck it. Screw everybody. Actually, you were made for destruction." And he alters Shadow's memories so that he can instead, when he wakes up, if he's ever woken up, kill everybody. But of course, he's a madman, so his original desire to want to save humanity may still have been there. Even if he can never forgive them, maybe deep down inside, he still wanted to save them. Nah, bro definitely did not want that. If he actually had complete control over Shadow's memories, he would have been able to wipe that original intention completely. There's so much mystery in the original SA2 that if you take it as a standalone game before, the sequels and everything, there's a lot of mystery and a lot left to interpretation where you can basically form whatever backstory you want for Shadow. If he actually met Maria, if he never met Maria, what changed in Gerald. But there's so much. Even with the further context added in later games, there's a lot that you can take from Shadow's story on what you can interpret and what factually happened. And at the beginning, you knew very little of what factually happened. Everything else could be interpreted, or you could come up with your own conclusion. There are things that you can read, there were things that weren't properly explained between English and Japanese. It was all open to debate, but with Shadow the Hedgehog and the further continuation of Gerald's notes in Sonic Battle, we do kind of solidify some of Shadow's story. And while there are more mysteries to unlock, we unravel who Shadow is, and he unravels who he is, and who he doesn't want to be, to us. Shadow is one of the most complex characters in the series, and there's tons of things that we look at that we attribute to different parts of the history that we don't know about. How did he create an artificial soul? How did he find Emerald? And the more answers that you get, the more questions that you have. And I love watching people come up with theories or bring up the original intentions of the story, because Shadow never actually meeting Maria is definitely something that is brought up in SA2, and you can see that intention a little bit more. But you can also see how the games, went their own direction because Shadow was so popular. Seeing him develop into something that they probably weren't expecting from a one-off character in their last game at the time. It's incredible what they were able to make with the last hope of their team, the Sonic team. And it's not just now, it's been every single time. Every single time that Sega or Sonic teams have pushed, with their back against the wall, they make something truly incredible. Can't wait to see more of it, honestly. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever get something to the depth as we've gotten Shadow ever again. You'll probably be the deepest this series goes with the complex lore and government conspiracies and this and that. This is probably the last time we're gonna see that, so I'm gonna eat it all up with Shadow while I can. So while this may have been the intention, or it may not have, or it was left up to interpretation, whatever the original story was, we do have the final concluding story that Shadow did actually meet Maria. And that's okay, because I love their relationship, and I know a lot of other people do. I see them as great. They not only are they siblings, they also kind of have soul ties, since Gerald based Shadow's soul off of Maria's. Once again, don't know how he did that. Don't know how he did that at all. Regardless, their relationship is still beautiful. You can see the love and care that Maria has for him in Shadow Generations, and how Shadow himself doesn't really even know how to react to Gerald. He doesn't know what to do. He knows that he wants to save them, but he's stuck. And that moral complexity, that desire to live your own path, is what makes Shadow very interesting. He doesn't want to be tied down to anyone. He wants the past to be the past, and he wants to continue in the future, as he is, as Shadow the Hedgehog. And there are so many things that you can pull from his story, which is why he's one of the top dogs in the series. That being said, I've yapped enough for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Peace out. You think he gets way too much for a year dedicated? Our own path is what should make Shadow.